Do 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 do. Hello, everybody. Welcome to SketchCraft Gaming. I'm Rob Duenas, graphic artist Esquire, or gamer artist Esquire. Ooh, I gotta think about that one. And if you're joining in for the very first time, you should know that we typically rant about gaming-related news stuffs chosen by either us or you, the audience. Joining in today is Wesley Rusher, PR gaming guru. Say hi.
Hello.
Hey, and also returning from the depths of art knowledge, Ashley West from GangFeather.com. Ashley.
Hey!
Hey, she's in the sketch cave. Alrighty, so I'm not going to say a busy week in gaming news this week, but an eventful one, either way you look at it. Who wants to go first? Anyone itching to bring up some topics? No? Wesley? You pick something.
Sure, let's talk about Doom. And I don't know if you saw the new trailer that came up for it, but Doom, the reboot, I don't know if it's a remake, reboot, sequel, looks really cool. It looks cool. There was a story trailer. It looks violent. It looks fast-paced. It looks like Doom 2 next gen, as opposed where Doom 3 was very just dark and corridor-based and jump scares.
Is that the one that they used Unreal Engine 4 on? Like, they didn't build their own engine this time? That was a big thing.
Yeah, I don't think so. You know, I mean, with Carmack and Romero, like, you know, the original people aren't there anymore, so this is all new people working on these games.
Right. Let's bring that up on the... Let's see if I can get that to flip over. Work. Come on.
Work.
I know, sometimes it takes OBS a second to catch up. So we're looking at the box art here. Oh, yeah.
That's kind of another story.
This is from All Games Beta. This is interesting.
Yeah. They're a fun little site I like, and apparently this story blew up today. I saw some people talking about how generic they thought the box art looked, and then I saw on like Polygon, on Kotaku, like the same batch of pictures where they just throw on like Crysis and Halo and all these. I think the Kotaku article even throws like Cooking Mama and other titles, and how it's like, look, any title fits this box art because it's so generic.
Yeah. Giant soldier with white text. Interesting.
Oh, I mean, what do you think? I think it's fine. I mean, it's not some crazy, you know, amazing like blood and gore, demon heads and flames all over the place that you would think of Doom, or you know, or Mars or whatever.
Ash, you have any thoughts on the new Doom game? Did you even play Doom? Do you know what Doom is?
Yes. But
Oh,
I didn't play it. But I didn't play it because it came out in what, 2004?
Doom 3.
Doom 3, yeah, it came out in 2004, right? I was like, hold on, 14 or 13. I think I was 13. Or 12. So yeah, it wouldn't have really been my cup of tea back then, probably. Even though I was playing like Turok and stuff. I don't know, I just didn't. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I read about it, and I read a lot of Game Informer. That's my go-to. So most of what I talk about is from Game Informer. I was reading it. It's the cover it's the headline story, I guess, for Game Informer this month. So they're talking about what they would rather do if they wanted to kind of go down that dark route that Doom 3 went down, or they wanted to go back to the original games that were a little bit more like, I guess, I don't know if you call it campy, but just a little bit more lighthearted. Even though it was like blood and gore, it was just a little bit more like, what's the word for it? I guess it was so like bloody or ridiculously violent that you just kind of had to laugh at it, kind of thing. And so they kind of went with the original. So like the new game I read about is a lot like that. It's just kind of like you can kind of laugh at it. So I mean, that's just my first take on it. And they're implementing, you know, like multiplayer and stuff like that. I guess like they're doing like an arena thing. They're also doing like this thing where you can modify. I don't even know. You know what? Just talk. I'll jump back in. I'll jump
Yeah,
back in.
I definitely think they did a much better job hitting the mark of that original field. Doom 3 was definitely more serious, more cinematic or something, trying to feel more like a movie and less like a video game. This one, I was watching last night on Conan O'Brien, they had his gamer review thing, and he did the Super Bowl version. They showed more of the game. It was very early build, and they kept cutting away, but it was like chainsaws through dudes' heads, ripping guys' hearts out, shoving them in their mouth, punching their heads off, getting your own body dismembered. It looks fun. It definitely, it's that, like Evil Dead, if you've watched the new Evil Dead or even the old ones where it's so much blood, you can't help but laugh. And
Yeah, Sam Raimi. I finally got the damn screen capture to work here. Like, my OBS has just not been doing anything while you guys are talking. So, yeah, I mean, we're looking at in-game screens from Doom. Bethesda is hit or miss, right? I mean, literally at this point. But it looks good. This has to be the
so it's actually id Tech
4,
6
right?
is what I'm reading on Wikipedia, so I don't know how.
And to add what I was trying to say earlier, they have this thing called Snap Map, which is basically the user creation suites where you can kind of create, I guess, your own, like you could probably tell the bad guys what to do and stuff like that, create your own little scenarios. But I guess it's just kind of like they're trying to like harken back to, I guess, like the Little Big Planet kind of thing, or Mario Maker, where you can kind of like have a little bit of control over things. So, but that's just.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've always shipped with like custom map creation tools and stuff. So, but being able to share all those.
Yeah, share that. I mean, I don't know if it'll be that like popular, but I guess they're just trying. Have they done that before in other?
But will it be a MOBA eventually? Like, at what point do they turn it into?
Well, they're saying like they would have like arena battles. And sorry if you can hear me flipping pages. They said that they would have like arena battles where like in games like Destiny, where it's like or Call of Duty, where you shoot them once and they're dead. This is more of like a over the course of time, you're kind of hacking away at their life, and then they eventually die. So you don't die like a lot of times. It's like you die maybe once, but you try to like last the longest. So they're kind of trying to go at that, I think, a little bit differently in the multiplayer arena. So
Interesting. So Wesley, you're looking forward to Doom then?
I think I am, after seeing this, the latest gameplay that I saw last night and the trailer. I am definitely more interested. I know it was had big issues with the development for a long time, and so that kind of worries me. Is how many iterations of this game did it go through, and did it start over at one point, or did they just kind of keep adding and adding? Is this another Duke Nukem? Because I know they've been working on this game a long time, like pretty much since they finished Rage. And even so, they were kind of working on Doom 4 probably around the same time. So,
and I'm guessing since
Carmack
left to go to Oculus, no VR support for Doom, right?
Probably not. Probably not. I mean, if there is, maybe it's for the Vive or,
right.
or possibly PlayStation. They're hitting 1080p, 60 frames, so that's promising. But at the same time, with that kind of frame rate and that kind of resolution, is this game, how good is it going to look? I remember Carmack said that the game was going to look like 4 times better than Rage, and I feel like it's not going to look 4 times better anymore.
Yeah, but it'll be like fast. In small corridor rooms. So Rage was on a giant open world map, right?
Rage was a fun game. I'm
not saying it's a bad game, but I'm saying that when you're trying to render that much detail, it's easier when it's locked in a room versus some giant open world situation.
So, quick question: do you think Doom's still relevant?
No.
Or is this another Duke Nukem?
No, it was irrelevant when that movie with The Rock came out. Remember, and it had that first-person shooter sequence. The PF. Matter of fact,
you know what the funny thing was is I liked that movie, and everyone's like, "That movie sucked." It's because and I think it's because I wasn't really familiar with Doom, so they're like, I don't know what it was.
I think we're all hoping for a John Carpenter-esque sort of campy, somewhere between The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China in terms of tone. So I get that. But before I forget, Ash, I don't mean to cut you off. Before I forget.
Yeah.
So they were talking I was watching Collider last week, and they were going over the movies for the 2016. And one of the big films coming out this year is Spielberg's BFG, which is an adaptation of this novel. It stands for Big Friggin' Giant. But John Campia was like, maybe it's my age talking, but when I hear BFG, I'm thinking Doom, and I was like, me too.
Yeah.
Like, and that's how I can tell you, man. Like Wesley, I don't think it's relevant at all because nobody under the age of 30 was thinking.
Actually, I'm going to prove you wrong right there. BFG, I read that in grade school. BFG to me is Big Friendly Giant, not Big Effing Gun or whatever.
But no, I'm agreeing with you that
you are.
anyone under the age of 30 is not thinking big fucking gun, right? They're thinking big friendly giant or whatever. But I hear BFG, I think the BFG, it's Doom. So, yeah, I don't know, man. You know, look, they can change it. They can make it relevant, which is why it says Doom and not Doom 4, right? So it has a shot, but it could go the way of Duke Nukem quickly, you know, which we've seen. All right, Ashley, you want to pick something?
Sure. Okay. Real quickly, I just wanted to harken. Why do I keep using that word? All right, so I'm still playing Destiny. I'm probably gonna play it until I reach light level 300, which Wesley, you would know what that means. And I'm at 270 right now, so I just like to play one game at a time. That's me. Destiny has these thing called emotes, and we talked about them a little bit. You just do these little animations by pressing a button. And so they're kind of almost seem like they're useless in game, except for maybe like gloating or whatnot. But I came across one scenario where I actually found them to be pretty useful in communicating to a random person that I was on. I was playing in the Crucible, and they were just on my team. And sometimes I get kind of trigger happy, and somebody walks around the corner, and I just shoot, and it's like my own teammate. And so I shoot them in the face, and of course, I don't think you can do any damage. I don't think. But I always feel really bad. Like they're kind of like, "What the fuck are you doing, you stupid girl?" Or why'd you shoot me? And so like I was like, okay, I got 4 emotes here that I can show how sorry I am to this person, whether they care or not. And I'm just gonna press a button because I don't have them memorized. And so I picked the one that's like blowing a kiss, but I didn't finish the emote. So I got really lucky. My character started to bow, and I was like, that's good enough. And then I was like, hey, I'm sorry. And I was like, hey, that really worked. That came in handy. And I just wanted to commend the emotes. So I don't know. I just thought I'd share that. But otherwise, something I thought was actually pretty useless in game actually turned out to be kind of cool, and I felt like I got my point across. So, anyways, that was just that. That's what that meant.
So what you're saying is, if you accidentally use the emotes in an appropriate manner, they work, right?
Well, I mean, I could have danced at him. I think that would have worked too. I could have waved. I could have sat down and gone, I'm in timeout.
I think the dancing would have been like, ha ha ha, shut your face, suck it.
That brings up an interesting idea, though, Ashley. Wouldn't it be cool if there was some emote studio where you could take your emote and edit a snippet out of that animation and make a custom emote from their emotes?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be cool? Like, you could just sort of like take this section of animation, that section kind of, and you could get it a bow and like a kick, you know? You could probably, I don't know, it'd be cool if you could make emotes with their emotes.
Right, yeah, I think that, you could make one long little thing, but I don't know, like 10 seconds. I mean, 10 seconds is kind of long, but I mean.
Put that in the emote bin. Well, no one's going to watch you. They're just taking
off.
Right.
People have gotten really creative with the emotes, especially once they added all the new ones into Destiny. I've seen like Backstreet Boy music videos using like everybody in Destiny dancing together. You can find them on YouTube. They're pretty funny.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And you knew they were Backstreet Boys.
Yeah. So it's like that was like my high school. Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, NSYNC. I mean, a little bit, but I also have 2 younger sisters, so it was kind of hard to escape them blasting that in their rooms in my early 20s.
That's true.
Yeah.
Good times. So I'll bring up something. I want to talk about something no one's interested in but me, but I love this. It's the Peter Molyneux saga. If you don't know Peter Molyneux, Peter Molyneux. Ah, God, I love him. Like, he's the gift that keeps on giving. He, back in the day, made a game called Populous on the, I think Amiga, but definitely on the Super Nintendo, PC, whatever. Genesis, and then he made Black and White, which was like he's responsible for sort of helping to create the God game genre. And then he went off and did the Fable series and eventually lost his mind, quit Microsoft. He played Minecraft and quit Microsoft. That's the story, but who knows what it really was. And then decided to bring God Games back. First by making this cube game you touch repeatedly on the damn iPhone, and whoever wins, whoever gets to the center of the Rubik's Cube, I don't know, the fucking Tootsie Roll Cube, they were going to win a...
Pop.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, how many? Whoever gets to the center...
1, 2, 3.
3 million.
3.
Yeah, 3 million taps, you know. Some dude won it, and he was going to win a prize on this game. You play this game, you get to the center of the cube first, you win a prize. The prize was that you get to be this indestructible god in the next game they make, which turned out to be Godus, which he kickstarted. And I backed. Not because I was interested in the game, but because I wanted a front row seat to the Peter Molyneux show. Like, that's a healthy or an unhealthy, however you look at it, $20, whichever way you look at it, I'm in for. And Godus went to shit, like from the beginning, you know. Graphically, I think it's a pretty game. I like the design style, the low poly. I love the little way the lands are carved out, that you can edit these land areas. Game was never fun. It was pitched as a PC game that was clearly designed to be an iPad game, sort of a microtransaction money clicker. Every step of the way, you feel like Peter Molyneux was like pitching a game and then second-handedly trying to figure out how to make a lot of money off this thing. And we can get into that, you know, that Candy Crush saga, fucking King's Games. You know, it feels like he wants to be King's Games rich, but he's trying to live off the legacy of games like Populous. And to make a long story short, last year he decided he wasn't going to do any more PR because he's known for being like the world's biggest liar. He did this interview where I think the first question in the interview was, "Are you a compulsive liar?" And that like threw him off, and the interview went to weird. And I want to get your opinion on those kinds of questions, Wesley, in a second. But to recap, he that interview went to so much shit, he quit being the PR guy for his company, 22 Cans. They hired this other guy to be the PR, the company guy, and then he went off to go back to coding, is what he says. And this week they released Godus Wars, which was supposed to be part of Godus, but they took the battle system out of Godus, or the one that was planned, made it its own game, gave it free to the people who already own the game, and then also charged separately for it. And right out the bat, it had microtransactions. Like right out the bat, you know, and people were just like, "God, fuck, Peter," you know. And they even interviewed. I read it over on Destructoid, but it linked to a bunch of other websites. I don't have the source upon source upon source. My main source of this was Destructoid, but they did interview the guy who won the Cube game, and they're like, "So what do you think about eventually being in this video game?" And he's like, "Fuck, I don't even care anymore." You know, I don't even like Godus. You know, like, I mean, whatever. I just wish apparently they didn't talk to him for a year. And then once all the shitstorm hit on the internet, they wouldn't stop emailing him. Like, he'd get 20 emails a week, you know, and we updated this and we did that. And he was like, "Stop emailing me until you got some real shit to talk about." So, like, I don't know, man. Like, this whole saga is, like, Tim Schafer gets a lot of shit, but his games are still good. And they've shipped, you know, but Molyneux hasn't made a good game since Black and White, right?
No, all the Fable games are good games. The problem is he just hyped those games so much that when they came out,
you can't jump in Fable though, man. Like,
in the first one, but I enjoyed all three. The thing is he promised so much more that when people played the game, they're like, "This isn't the game you were selling to us." And while I like it, I think I would have liked all those things you promised, like the acorn and the tree that grew and all these different
dog
things
that you would love, and you end up hating that dog. Keep throwing the ball over cliffs and shit. You know, like, I hate that dog.
But the stories were okay. The characters are quirky and funny. The graphics are good. The fighting is decent. Like, I went through all of them, and I have no complaints. They're not the greatest games, but they're not Black and White. That's for sure. Yeah. That was a game I loved.
My question to you, Wesley, is two things. One, I want to talk about this interview stuff, because you've done a lot of interviews before, like PR.
I've interviewed Peter.
So, okay, that's why Wesley's here. People ask me, "Why Wesley?" You know, Wesley, sometimes they ask that. And I'm like, Wesley's the most qualified guy here, actually, to talk, man or woman, you know, or Mega Potato. He's the most qualified person to actually talk about gaming, because you've actually... I mean, I've been to E3 and I did my little goofy shit, but I mean, you actually write and you've done PR. And so I want to ask you some questions about that interview. Before I get to that, Peter Molyneux said that he has locked himself in a room and just became a coder. My question to you is, given how simple this game is, do you think, how much coding has he done in the last 15 years? You know, like,
He probably hasn't done much.
yeah, right. So when he says he's coding, is he? How? What? I have a feeling Notch has done more coding in the last 10 years than Peter Molyneux. You know, like,
Yeah, he
it,
probably hasn't done coding since like the Bullfrog days, and maybe Black and White. I doubt he did any coding on Fable. Maybe the first Fable. Maybe he kind of gets the ball rolling or helps, pitches in here and there. But yeah, I don't know. But if he's learning if he's making iPhone games, he's probably going to have to teach himself how to code for these systems and new languages or, brush up, and that's going to take time.
right. Yeah, so I just wonder how much involvement did he really have in this? They said 20 people. I don't know. I just wonder if he's just sitting in a room and they're like, "Oh, Peter made this shit again. Fuck, we gotta fix it." There is a great scene in the Double Fine Adventure documentary where Tim thought he might jump up and help code to help speed things along, and he's just driving Anna Kipnis crazy because he's like, "How do you do this? And where is this? And where is that?" And he's like, "Maybe I should just spend my time writing, because that's versus coding, because that's his thing now." Let's get back to that interview. So Wesley, because it seemed to me that when they were trying to explain what this interview meant in terms of Peter came to a realization that people think he's a compulsive liar. The people who gave the interview insist that Lionhead or whatever, 22 cans, they knew that those questions were, when as I know it, Dave used to have to submit questions when we were at play, and he would interview people. He had to send those questions ahead of time. He wasn't able to spring it upon them. So I'm just curious to think. Have you read that interview? Remember when they did that? Did you?
Yeah, it was with rock paper shotgun.
Okay, rock paper shotgun. So did you feel that they were, inappropriately, because asking him questions that weren't related to PR for the game? This my example for this would be in movies. There's that guy, that Indian reporter out in the UK, who tries to he's at a press junket, and then he tries to ask Quintino about violence and media, and he's like, "That's not what we're here for. This is a press junket. Ask me about the film." But I sort of felt like, do you felt that interview was off base for what it was supposed to be, or am I just? My opinion is that it probably wasn't an appropriate question for what they were going up for, but we all wanted to know. You understand what I'm saying?
I agree. I think you have to use these opportunities sometimes. Press, and now that Peter is independent and on his own, he's going to be more willing to answer these questions, or he's going to get himself in these situations where he can't avoid them. When he was under the protection of Microsoft, their PR, they're using agencies. There's so much protection that you would have to send in pre-approved questions, or they would be like, "We're not talking about this." And as soon as you ask, somebody else would step in and be like, "We're not answering that." And Peter would be like, I want to answer it, but they're going to get mad at me, and they're my bosses, so I can't answer that. I'm sorry." This time around, he kind of had nowhere to hide, so at rock paper shotgun, kind of loaded the shotgun and took advantage of that.
The PFG, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my feelings on it is that Peter Molyneux is like, he's either going to completely rebuild himself up as a game developer or just go away, you know? And I don't know if the games that he'll be making in the future will ever live up to the games that he used to make. I think for some reason, it just always feels like he pitches a game and then it ends up in shady free-to-play territory every fucking time. And I almost wish he would just make something hardcore, 2D, pixel, whatever, low bit, just make another Populous, straight up. Just make another game like that. Prove everyone that you can do that. Don't worry about the money for that game. And then move forward, after that, and build off that. I just feel like he's trying to always cram some kind of business plan into rebuilding his credibility, because the man has a serious credibility issue, I think, at this point. His games don't ship, and when they do, man, they're literally alphas. But you interviewed Wesley. I've said enough about it. What do you think about Peter Molyneux in this whole?
He's a charming man. He's super passionate. I got to talk to him back when he was doing the Connect Fable the Journey, and just listening to the way he talks. Like, everybody at that point knew he was blowing smoke up your ass. he was like, grab the reins, and you're riding a horse, and what would you do to if you're riding a horse? And he's like, and you'd make certain gestures, but and whatnot. And he was just very elegant and magical, and it was very surreal. Like I have the interview saved, like the audio of everything while I was playing, and he was talking to me about the game and telling me what to do and answering questions. And he's definitely passionate. I think that was his problem, is he's too passionate, and maybe he's a pathological liar. Maybe he just doesn't know that he's lying. Like it's a sickness. I don't know, but his heart's in it. He was a nice guy. My wife got to meet him at E3 one year, and he was super kind and just very, happy to meet fans of his work. And so I like the guy. I wish him all the best, but I take anything he says as a grain of salt. I mean, back then he was touting that this game, Fable the Journey, wasn't going to be on rails, and the game came out, and it's nothing but rails. It is
it's the rail the game, really.
Yeah. So
it's sad. It's sad because you do definitely get his sense of humor in the Fable games. Whatever I don't like about them, I would at least play an hour of each when it would come out, because I do like that quirky British sense of humor that would come across in the games. And I feel like Molyneux obviously had a lot to do with that in some manner, because that humor's there in black and white, it's there in Populous. But Godus is just, I mean, man, it looks nice in screenshots, but that is a fucking wreck. Like, just be honest. It makes
I haven't even looked at that game.
So I don't know. Ashley, have you ever heard of Peter Molyneux? Do you even know anything like we're talking about?
No, I don't.
And I'm not making fun that you don't. I just need to know. I mean, you're in a, there's almost a 20-year gap here, right? So, and I'm curious to know, like, in your circle of gamer friends, is that something that you're aware of? You're not. Hello? Is she there?
I'm here.
All right. Skype gave me a, you're not there anymore. So
That was weird. Yeah, I just pressed something on my computer and it was like, hey, I'm going to shut you off. I'm like, okay.
Right.
Anyway, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Did you ever play the Fable games, at least? Do you
No.
know those? No.
Yes, I do know of them. I just did not play them.
All right. Well, not much more to say. All right. Who's up? Who hasn't picked anything? Or Wesley, you're back to it.
I'm back to it. Well, I mean, just talk about what we've been playing. I've been going through. I've been jamming this year. I've already, I think, beaten like 11 games this year, so it's pretty crazy. But one of the last games I went through
in 2016.
Yeah, I beat 9 games last month, and I started off this month. I already beat 2 games this month, and some of them were some mobile titles, but I've gone through some lengthy games like Sunset Overdrive, Tomb Raider, and so on. But one of the games I went through, my wife was using my computer, and I was like, okay, what's on the PS4 that I haven't touched? And it was Assassin's Creed Chronicles. It was given as part of Assassin's Creed Unity as like an apology for all the bugginess that anybody who bought the season pass. I got the gold edition of the game, which came with it. So I ended up with the first part of the Chronicles series, which is Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. And let's say it came out last year, like March of 2015, and I think it was a really underrated game. It was pretty amazing. It's everything you would know about Assassin's Creed, just put in a very beautiful, like kind of like a painting, like ink colors, 2D stealth game. But you don't have to play it like stealth. There's actually 3 ways to play the game every level. You can go pure assassin, where you want to sneak up and kill everybody without being seen. You can go brawler, where it has the whole parry system and combos. Like you can block, you can roll over people. You can have enemies attack other enemies by positioning them the right way. And then there's like the ghost mode, where you just sneak by everybody and you don't kill anybody. You were never even there. And did a really awesome job. It feels like Assassin's Creed, but played the game. What was that 2D game? Mark of the Ninja?
Mark of the Kree.
Not Mark of the Kree. It was a
Mark
2D
of the Ninja is the 2D one from the guys that made that other 2D, the Shank.
Yeah, so it kind of gave me, some similar vibes with the stealth in that, but
or
it's a really
like
cool
Prince
game.
of Persia.
Yeah, exactly. Even like the 2D Prince of Persia's. And there's 2 more. There's Assassin's Creed India and Assassin's Chronicles and Assassin's Creed Russia. and they all have their own like different art style, which is pretty cool. So after playing this game, I'm definitely looking forward. India just came out this month, and then Russia comes out next month. And they're from Climax Studios. They made like the Sudeki game back on the original Xbox, if you remember that little
Yeah.
crappy action RPG.
Yeah.
But they haven't done anything too amazing. But it was a fun game and something I really enjoyed.
And how much are these on the Steam?
They're on Steam. They're on Xbox Live. They're on PlayStation Network, and they're like I think they're $15. So I'm like I said, I got the first one as part of a pack, so I haven't seen the price, but they're cheap. And I looking back at them, I was seeing the reviews were like 70, and I'm like, yeah, the story is not there, but the gameplay is. And if you just forget about the story and just want to play like a fun stealth action 2D side scrolling game, it's a really good game to try out.
We know how I feel about games that score 70%. They usually do something really, really well, and something people are like, I don't care for. But those 70% games are games that I end up liking more long term than the ones that are always rated AAA or 90% or whatever. I don't know why it is. It's
I was looking at the Wikipedia in the reception part. The IGN reviewer gave it a 6.9 out of 10, and it says for criticizing the story and simplicity. However, he praised the level design, stating exploring and seeing how the different paths connect to one another is probably the best part of Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. It's like, really? So you gave it a 6.9 because the gameplay was really awesome, but the story was lacking?
You know, man, I'll be honest. Unless it's made by Rockstar or at this point the Witcher people, there ain't no story that's that great. Or Tim Schafer. Tim Schafer, the Witcher people. And
Telltale?
But those are story games. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm talking
they have
about
to be good.
platformers or something that has some kind of action element. But yeah, the story is overrated in games, folks. It's about gameplay. At the end of the day, it's about gameplay. And if the gameplay is awesome, the story's simplistic. Who cares? I mean, who can tell me the story in any Mario game? What does it fucking matter? Right? I mean, there is no story in Mario. Oh no, the princess. Oh, whatever. That's cool, man. I'll have to check it out. I don't know about for 15. For me, 5 is like the magical number.
Well,
$4.99.
there is a trilogy pack. They're going to sell all three together. So, see if I can find out what that costs.
Will do.
But I mean, at some point it's going to be like $20, so you can get all three for 20 eventually.
Right.
I mean, who needs to play games the day they come out?
Really? Right. Okay. Ashley, have you checked out these games before? You were aware of them? The Assassin's Creed Chronicles?
I have not played any of the Assassin's Creed games. So.
I like the world building. I'm not a big fan of the game, the actual 3D ones, but these are 2D side scrollers.
Yeah, the 2D. I've read a little bit about them, and I mean, I didn't really. I guess it didn't really. I was like, oh, I gotta play that. So I don't know. I guess it was just not saying it's not a good game. I just don't have anything to add, really.
I think it's one of those ones where if you got like a Steam summer sale, you'd make up pretty good. That's what I feel.
I'm a big fan of the series, but this game definitely caught me by surprise. I was like, oh, whatever. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Wesley was not paid to recommend that game, right, yeah. Wesley?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
I would probably enjoy it. I usually enjoy most games that I play. So.
Super sweet. Ashley, pick something. We've got a
little
bit more time here.
Let's go with I guess. Well, okay. I read an article in Game Informer that was talking about like what is a good balance between entertaining and challenging when you're making a game, because games today are so like I don't know if this is a collectively, but like back when there was arcades and whatnot, there was no like try again. It was like you start over. You start the whole game over. I mean, if I'm wrong, correct me. But wasn't that the basis?
No, you had to continue. You just had
had to continue, but you had. I mean, but
you had to pay.
You did, and it was just like. Go ahead.
I was gonna say even like early Nintendo games like Mario, there was no like save system. You had to beat if you wanted to beat that game, you had to beat it in one sitting. There wasn't like
Yeah.
come back tomorrow and continue from
Well,
level 4 unless you left your system on all night.
and I remember that, and I used to play it, or I used to play on the Super Nintendo, not the Super Nintendo, just the NES, and I would play that game, and I'd be like, I can never beat this game, and I don't really know if I really understood why I couldn't continue. I guess it just seemed like that's the way it was, and when I got my PlayStation, I never had a memory card for that thing. Never got one. So any game that I played, it was you got to beat this or you're not beating it at all. You know, you're not saving. And I don't know why I never got it. I don't know why I never got one. I guess I was young. I didn't really. It was like, hey mom, I need a memory card. I was like, what is a memory card? I don't understand why I need a memory card because the N64 had one built inside. I think.
Just please tell me that you beat like Final Fantasy VII, like you left your PlayStation on for like 3 months.
No. The sad thing was my go-to game back then. You know, everybody had that really shitty game when they were like a young kid. While they clung on to and were like, this is the best game ever. And the game for that for me was Tarzan. I know.
Ooh.
And come on, I was like 8. Okay,
Right.
So give me a break here, okay? And that was my shitty game.
Did the Hercules game let you down? Like, with the Tarzan game was...
it might have actually had Hercules on the computer. But anyway.
I know my 32-bit era Disney interactive games, folks. Sadly, like, because Dave Halverson and Game Fan used to review all of them because they get free copies and ads and stuff, and you'd be like, "That's not a 7.8 game, my ass." You know, but the animations are great. No, they were on the. See, for me, the games on the Super Nintendo, the Disney games, Capcom used to make them, so the animations are super smooth, and everyone sort of thought Disney was doing that, but it was Capcom. And then when they moved to the 32-bit, they had Disney Interactive. Half the time it was fucking Activision or one of these hack companies making those 3D side scrollers. But yeah, that's cool. That makes me wonder, what was my shitty game that I was like is the best ever? That totally, you know, maybe Blaster Master, because it's not a very good game, man. Like it isn't. But it had a cool vehicle, and you know, you wanted to like it like Metroid, but you couldn't save it, and so we would have to leave that NES on. And you'd learn all these tricks. There was these tricks, these glitches you could do. You could drop a grenade and hit pause, and it would just endlessly keep the grenade glowing, rolling around, so it'd blow up the boss and stuff. But Blaster Master wasn't a very good game. Great jumping mechanic, but not a good game. Wesley, what was that game you loved that really isn't all that great in hindsight?
You know, the games I loved as a were like sports games, so like Bases Loaded. I want to say though one of the games I remember playing so much as a kid because I bought it and I had to stick with it because I couldn't let my parents know that I hated it. It was this game called Monster Party.
Ooh. Yeah.
It's like this side-scrolling game where you ran around with like a baseball bat and you were fighting all the different like classic horror monsters, like Frankenstein's monster and the creature from the lagoon. And it was so bad, and it didn't make any sense. It was like I rented Fester's Quest as a kid. It was like that, but a 2D side-scrolling game. It was just brutally hard, and I was like, "Wow!" It had a cool box. I was like, "This box looks cool. I'm gonna get this game."
If you really want to, you know what? Honestly, the game that I was most disappointed in, but I had to pretend I liked it because I did con my dad into buying it for me, was Mario 2. You know, I did not like Mario 2 when it came out. And
I love that.
Look, hey, you guys are all genius, but I remember when I played it, I wanted more Mario Brothers, and I was like, "What the fuck is this game, man? Like, I gotta pick things up and throw them and shit." And I just I was was a wee kid, and I just couldn't get my head around Mario 2. Like, if it was called something else, and then eventually we know it is, it wasn't really a Mario game. But I remember just like I had to pretend I liked it an awful lot, and then eventually I beat the fucking thing, but. Yeah. Ashley, did you ever talk to your parents into buying you something and you hated it, like a game, and then you're like, you had to pretend you liked it? No.
I'm sure I did, but honestly, I kind of was just like, I would have the game and I'd be like, yeah, this game is awesome. I'm gonna play the crap out of it.
Well, because you never saved your game, so.
Right. Well, that was the okay. For instance, that was the only game. That was the only system that I did not have a memory card for. So.
Did you play Resident Evil? Like,
no. I played Turok. The one on the N60. I know, but I didn't. I mean, as far as that kind of ish game goes.
Because I'm just mad on the PlayStation. Like, I would not. You need a memory card. Like,
that's why I'm gonna give a shout out to the 3 games that I remember having. That's Animaniacs Bowling. That's Bass Pro Fishing. And Tarzan. And I don't know why. Those are the weirdest games ever. Because on my N64, I had like Donkey Kong 64. I had Diddy Kong Racing. I had Star Fox, Tetris. That was my brother-in-law's game, but he let me borrow it. But I mean, I had like really good games. And then on my PlayStation, it was just kind of like, whatever. Got all the bad games.
Hey, but you didn't have a memory card, so even if you got a good game like Brave Fencer Musashi, you'd have been hosed. Like,
yeah, I don't know what was going on there. And then I got a PS2 and got SSX, and it was awesome.
Wesley, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I learned a fun, interesting fact about Turok 2 today. I think it was in a Destructoid article. But in Japan, that was the first Turok game Japan got, and so it wasn't called Turok 2 Seeds of Evil. It was called Violence Killer, Turok, New Generation.
Violence Killer?
Yes.
You know, I remember. This is kind of. It's about Turok, but I just remember as a kid loving the green blood option in Turok, and I bet if I played that today, it would just look like basically like Nickelodeon goose, or what is that called? Nickelodeon slime. There we go. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was just.
I remember the cerebral bore weapon that would like shoot out this like seeking missile, tentacle thing that would just go right into someone's head and make it explode. And we used to play a lot of multiplayer on that one with some friends.
The Turok?
Yeah, Turok 2.
Yeah, I used to play with my dad a lot. I know my dad was. He was always like, you can play anything. It's blood and gore. That's fine. He was just one of those dads.
But we're not buying you a memory card.
No, well, again,
as long as you don't save it, you're all right.
Yeah, no, but that was, that was N64. Like, I think that's why I was like, you don't need one. What is this thing? I don't understand.
Not true. There were memory cards on the 64.
But it was. But where?
You fit right into the controller. You fit because some games didn't want to ship with the battery pack or the little battery because there was a battery that went in there that would save stuff. They didn't want to spend the money on that extra chip. So because the cards were super expensive. I don't know if you remember at the time, a lot of those games were up in $80 territory, $90 territory.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Mortal Kombat Trilogy was $129.99 at Walmart when it shipped that week. I was just sitting at Walmart laughing at it. Like I was that dick. It's like, like that game's going to fail. I hated Midway, so. $129, who would pay such a thing, unless it's Neo Geo. But yeah, there were memory cards for the N64. Which quickly went away once, Rumble Pack started coming out.
Yeah, Rumble. Okay, we had Rumble Packs, but I thought the Rumble Pack was just, so your controller could shake.
Yeah, but people stopped using the memory packs and using Rumble Packs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
all right.
It was a whole thing.
Now, what was that thing? I know we were going on this crazy tangent, but in the front of the N64, there was like something inside of it, like you could lift it up.
It was nothing, but
you could add a 4 meg expansion memory pack.
Eventually.
Okay, because I remember opening that as a kid and seeing something red or pink inside and going, okay, and I don't know what I'm talking about necessarily. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was nothing when you opened it up. It was just a piece of plastic. But eventually, by the time the Rogue Squadron came out, they needed an extra 4 megabytes of RAM. It was Rogue Squadron or Donkey Kong Country 64. I can't remember which one was the first one.
Donkey Kong, I think, used it. I'm actually looking at a list right now.
Rogue, but I think it's first shipped with Rogue Squadron on the 64. Yeah. It was the first one it shipped with. And then you would take that out and you'd put in the RAM expansion. Perfect Dark was unplayable without the RAM expansion.
Yeah, I think you can only play some like multiplayer stuff. You needed it for the whole game. Yeah. The thing that was in there though, while it didn't do anything, it's called the jumper pack. It still was needed. If you took it out, like your N64 wouldn't work.
Wow. This is a great way to screw with your friends. You go to someone you don't like's house and take out their jumper pack.
Because it says right here, serves no functional purpose other than to terminate the Rambus bus in absence of the expansion pack. This is functionally equivalent to continuity RAM in a Rambus motherboard. So like it had some use. It was keeping something connected, but yeah, they were just planning ahead. A lot of systems were like that. I mean, the Saturn, they had expansion slots, and you could put a new video card in it, which never came out here, but it's pretty crazy how forward thinking. Even the Super Nintendo, I mean, it was ready for a CD attachment. Same with the Genesis. It's crazy how much manufacturers thought about how they could expand upon their console. But you look at systems now, you can maybe change the hard drive and that's it.
Oh, well, no, now they're just expanding the games. When you buy them, they don't work, and then you get to download 17 gigs of actual data, and your games work. It's amazing, all the tweaking's going on and giving you a game that actually works, so whatever. All right, well, we've already done 40 minutes of show. Anyone else have anything they need to... Anything you want to get in there before
I'll go. I was just saying.
I was just gonna say really quick. Okay.
Go. No, you go.
You go. Okay. Okay. Really quick. Since I know actually you're a big Ratchet and Clank fan, and
Yes.
I just went through Insomniac's Xbox One exclusive Sunset Overdrive, and it's a great game. It has like all the weapons that you kind of remember
You
from
said
Ratchet and
it's
Clank.
Xbox. You said it's Xbox.
It's an Xbox One exclusive. Yeah,
Jeez.
Microsoft. But I just finished it. It's open world, kind of like Infamous or Prototype, but
It's got the orange monsters.
Yeah, so they're like zombies their people are infected by an energy drink.
Right.
And become monsters, and you grind on rails, and you can run on walls, like all parkour, kind of like the Jet Set radio games on Dreamcast. But the story is hilarious. It continuously break the fourth wall. All the characters are really funny. There's like all these different groups in different cities. There's like a Girl Scout / Boy Scout troop. There's a bunch of LARPers that are traumatized from the event, so they think they're back in the Middle Ages, and it's a really fun game. But then it has all the crazy weapons that you remember from Ratchet and Clank, like games that shoot like records, and then they level up, and you can modify them to add like flame and lightning. And yeah, it sucks if you're a huge Insomniac fan and Ratchet and Clank fan that it's Xbox One exclusive, but after their last few outings, after playing this game, I'm really excited for the new Ratchet and Clank that's coming out this year.
Oh, me too. Yeah, the remake of the based on the movie, or based on the game, or whatever. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, and a friend of the show, Brandon Popovich, he worked on that game. So zing, I'm name dropping, folks. Boom, I added the conversation. Ashley, you were saying? I cut you. I knew you'd forget it.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I need to play Ratchet and Clank trivia. I think I could do some damage there. So like you know how they play like those games like not trivia like I guess it is Trivial Pursuit or whatever where it's like.
I will take you on. I'm sure you would destroy me, but that's my favorite game franchise.
Yes, it is me too. It is me too. All right.
Excellent. So, good recommendation, Wesley. Unfortunately for me, I will never own an Xbox One. So unless they port that sucker over to the PS4 someday, I'm never gonna get to enjoy it. But I'm a big fan of Insomniac, and I mean, I did honestly weigh when they announced that as an exclusive if that was gonna be enough to get me to buy an Xbox One, but I couldn't do it, Wesley. Couldn't do it. So, oh well.
I just support the game makers. Buy the console, play the games.
Yeah. Definitely do that. Buy a console, play the games. I just bought the other two consoles. Wesley, where can we all find you on the internet? What are you doing?
Twitter's best place. At Wesley Rusher, RUSCHER.
Links are in the show info. And Ashley?
You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and I am Gain Feather.
Excellent. Yep. And as always, folks, I got smart this time. I put all the info in the show below. So it's down there. It's ready to go. Just click on those links. Say hi to everybody. Perfect. As you know, the show is recorded in front of a live internet audience. It's supported by viewers like you. You can find me at Twitter at SketchCraft. Sketch, C-R-A-F-T, name of the show.com. Take you right to the Facebook. SketchCraft.net. Take you right over here to the YouTube channel. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with some gaming stuff. Because next week, I'm at PhoenixCon. And looking forward to it, folks. See y'all then. Bye.
Bye.